Gestures can be a great way to enhance communication, especially between different languages, unless you use the wrong ones, of course. While some gestures might be natural or common sense to us back home, here in Japan, they may make no sense at all, or could even have a different meaning entirely. Here are some Japanese versions of common gestures. Pointing to yourself. While many foreigners might refer to themselves by placing a palm on their chest or pointing to that area, the Japanese invariably do this using their index finger to point to their nose. Calling someone to you. Gesturing for someone to come to you has the risk of looking ill-mannered depending on the situation, so do so with caution. In Japan, it's done with a kind of palm-down wave, basically a flipped-over version of the gesture you might be familiar with. Just be aware that in Japan, gestures that some foreigners may use to call someone to them might be interpreted as confrontational, like you're asking for trouble. I'm just going to cut in here. The gesture of pointing to other people can be seen as rude in a number of cultures, including here in Japan. Here, if you do want to gesture to another person, do so by extending your arm slightly with the palm of your hand facing up. Counting. You might be used to counting with your fingers by starting with a closed palm and extending each digit starting with the thumb. In Japan, it's basically the reverse of this. Start with an open hand and fold in each digit one by one, starting with the thumb. Want a drink? Okay, so the gestures here are almost the same, but I for one enjoy the subtle cultural difference. Whereas many foreigners might be familiar with a gesture that looks like holding a basic cup or glass, in Japan, the gesture is a little more sophisticated. Thumb and index finger shaped as if holding a sake cup. Actually, use of the gesture is increasingly rare among the locals, but if you master it as a foreigner, you could look cool. Now let's look at some Japanese gestures that might look familiar, but that actually carry a different meaning. Hand over mouth. Using a hand to cover the mouth might appear as if someone is saying something rude about us. Perhaps the same is true in Japan as well. But before you rush to judgment, just be aware that Japanese women in particular often cover their mouth when they laugh about anything. Waving a hand in front of your face. This Japanese gesture runs the risk of looking like there is a bad smell in the area. However, with this rigid kind of wave in front of the face, the Japanese are communicating that someone is mistaken or has interpreted something the wrong way. Is this your bag that was left behind? No, it's not mine. Can I just jump in here again? While the Japanese are usually very willing to help out foreigners with things like directions, language barriers may just be too high for some. In which case, they might use this gesture as a way to say, "Sorry, I can't speak your language." A show of money. This gesture could be misinterpreted as someone mistakenly trying to say okay. But no, this palm up okay sign is a gesture which refers to money. Pinky finger. Some people might see an extended little finger or pinky finger and be reminded of childhood days when promises were made by interlocking pinky fingers. Here in Japan, a pinky finger extending out of a fist is a gesture also used to indicate or ask discreetly whether a person is someone's girlfriend. Likewise, a thumbs up gesture is used to ask discreetly if a person is someone's boyfriend. Japan might not be the largest country in terms of size, but regions and people are diverse, as can be their manners and customs. What you've seen in this video was just an example to get you started. There might be variations, so just remember to keep an open mind and don't be afraid to communicate with the locals. Interested in a life in the capital of Japan? Head over to the Life in Tokyo website, where you can find more videos like this, as well as articles, event listings, and much more to help you make the most of your life in the city.